How in the world can aviation headsets save your life? We're going to find out in the hangar. Hello, welcome to In the Hangar. I'm Dan Milliken.
And I'm Christy Wong. Today's episode is brought to you by Colton Mortgage and Flying Eyes Optics. And today I am really excited about this episode.
Oh, I am too. We had this guy on a previous episode, and he couldn't tell us what we're going to find out today because he would have had to have killed us. So we get to live.
Yes, exactly.
So we're going to find out what was worth dying for here on this episode. We have from Lightspeed Aviation returning with us, we have Alan Schrader. Alan, thank you so much for coming.
Thrilled to be here.
And Teresa Demers, Executive Vice President, Lightspeed Aviation. You're going to be able to tell us what this new life-saving product is.
Yes, we're super excited to be here with you. Thank you for having us.
You guys just released a new product called the Delta Zulu. So how would you describe the Delta Zulu and what it means for the industry as a whole?
Yeah, well, it's a big leap forward in what a headset can be. Last time I was on, I talked about the fact that for the last 25 years, our mission was really to make products that help the pilots have a more enjoyable flying experience, a quieter experience, easier, less stressful, good A&R. But as you asked about new things, I said the next frontier would be safety, the importance of connecting the pilot into his cockpit and giving the pilot more information about himself. And Delta Zulu is starting a new category of headset, which I would call a safety wearable. The platform itself, it took us about 4 years to develop it, and it now merges sensors of various sorts and the data from sensors to provide pilots with information about themselves and about their environment, which then allows them to make choices around their safety. The number one feature that's a safety feature in the product that you've probably read about is carbon monoxide. And it's an always-on carbon monoxide monitoring system. No more battery-operated or flashing things or cards stuck to...
Or chiclets.
Yeah. Right. You put the headset on and you just go flying. But throughout that time, it's monitoring the levels of carbon monoxide in your cockpit and has the ability then to provide you audible warnings if you reach cautionary or critical levels.
Wow. So we had Dan Bass on in this studio tell his incredibly gripping story about his carbon monoxide poisoning and passing out in the plane and crashing and surviving.
And all of that would have been avoided had Dan had a Delta Zulu. Because as soon as the levels got up into 10 or 20 parts per million, it would have started to tell him over his headset cautionary levels of CO. And he could watch as it was climbing quickly, in his case probably, to over 100 and probably over 200. So he could immediately start taking action around that. He could begin to open windows and start to make turns to get his plane down before it took itself down.
Just because the headsets tell you got, that's amazing.
Exactly. What was your inspiration for this?
Well, a lot of it had to do with being in the aviation community all this time. There's various times where people have unexplained accidents, people die because of stuff that goes on. And hypoxia is one of them, and carbon monoxide poisoning is another one of them.
That's a big one.
And so I said there must be ways to figure out how to do this better and to begin to incorporate what's available into a system, but also the notion of being able to link the audio alerts directly to it is a huge step forward in any monitoring of any situation when it tells you you're getting into trouble.
Well, Teresa, I know you guys have done tons of market research. You've done focus groups and talked to pilots and all that kind of stuff. But how in the world did you guys come up with an idea to put a CO detector in the headset?
Well, it's a great question, and we listen to pilots all the time, and Alan and I are both pilots as well, and so we live in the community, and we're very excited about this. Is really an inflection point, we believe, in the industry, and certainly for the headset makers, because this now it would be able to take what has been a communication device and turn it into a safety product. So, among our many focus groups, we ask questions about what do pilots either think they would like, and or we pepper them with things. What would you think if this were in a headset, or this capability was imaginable? And carbon monoxide was something that was kind of a sleeper thing for us, and
sleeper.
No pun intended.
right. And pilots really said that would be very important. And the more research we did and learned to understand how many accidents there actually are, there are maybe a couple a year that are documented by the NTSB, but there are so many accidents where the root cause is never actually figured out, and experts in the field think that a lot of those may also be carbon monoxide poisoning. So we are just so thrilled to be able to feel like we really are creating a product here that is going to save lives.
I have a confession.
Okay.
So after the damn bass story, I went out and I bought this really great detector, like CO detector. And I was like, I'm gonna use this all the time. The problem is that you have to charge it and you have to make sure that it's charged. And so when I go fly, I realize, oh shoot, I forgot to charge it.
Right.
And you have to remember to turn it on and everything.
Oh,
So
see, the one I have is battery, but it's like a watch kind of battery that you can never find. And
yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just not convenient. So I think this is huge with the
because
convenience because it's automatic, right?
It's automatic. You turn that headset on,
Revolutionary.
it's on. And so, yeah, it's just, and you don't have to think about it. And it will produce alerts both in the headset audibly, and then also if you have the app open, you can also see alerts there too. But you don't have to have the app open. You don't even have to have the app in the airplane with you. The headset will produce, will do the sensing and produce the what we call smart alerts, canary smart alerts,
nice.
at the caution and critical level. So long before when a pilot has plenty of time to still react and take
And
action.
I'll chime in that
Yes.
just last week I got into an R44 that I'm renting with an instructor. Had no idea that as we're hovering around doing ground maneuvers, immediately I get to 20, 30, 40. It tells you what the CO readings are. And it was cold, so we couldn't really open the doors so much, but I was shocked. Even finding those kinds of levels, I didn't necessarily think on a cold day out in a helicopter you'd have much in the way of CO. But
well, I've seen pictures. Too bad we can't actually see the headset. Oh wait,
I happen to have brought one.
just happened to have brought one.
Yeah, it comes in a beautifully
Oh, that's
See,
crafted.
I'm
beautiful
excited
case.
about the case.
That is
Look at the
a beautiful
case.
case. You guys, in addition to the headsets, you are starting to make more and more like bags and
Yes.
things that are very cool.
Thank you. Yes, we see a need in the market. We make it.
Look at this. Look at these things.
When I first saw these, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, wow.
No, they're beautifully designed. And they go along with the case and everything. They're very similar to what you would find with a Lightspeed product, but there's some additional features we have to talk about. So, for example, the battery.
Yeah, tell us
case.
about the batteries.
Well, part of the thing when we were talking to people about what they'd want, there's more and more of a sense of going green in what they're using and doing. And so we created a product where you can have interchangeable magazines for, one of them has a lithium ion battery in it, but the other one has a little door and you can put in 2 AA's. So if you really
you
want to
can put
stick
in the
with the
double A's, yeah.
And so it comes with each of those, and then it's it just snaps right on. So instead of fumbling around with trying to get the batteries and getting them in right and all the stuff and at the most inopportune times, it's easy to just slide out one, slide in another.
Yeah, it's very cool, very sleek.
What are some of the technical challenges that you've had in designing this?
Yeah, I mean, some of them were around the platform, the electronics platform. We had to move to an all-digital platform. All of our headsets and pretty much all the headsets out there use analog as the way to deliver both the audio and the quieting. But there was another feature we'll get to about hearing acuity, which required us to change over so that you could personalize the way the audio sounds. And so that caused us to put a lot of time and energy into that because there's power-related issues and interference-related issues, a lot of things that go into designing it. Part of it also, so behind the little gold badge is in part where the opening is for the CO
Yeah, right there.
monitor.
Okay.
And the CO sensor needed to be outside, but in an active noise headset, everything else has to be sealed up. inside. So then we had to figure out a way to get to change the cavity so it could sit outside, but still have a way to reach outside,
That
which is
is
partly why we put the badge on it,
neat.
so that it looked elegant and beautiful while still being able to deliver the functionality.
I honestly didn't even notice until you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's how, I mean, honestly, how good it looks.
Okay, so you mentioned the hearing acuity. I guess as I grow a little bit older, how do you compare it sounds a lot like hearing aids.
Yeah, it really is a hearing aid. It's, it's probably not an FDA-approved hearing aid, but rather the functionality of it is identical to a hearing aid. Those that have had the opportunity to get their hearing tested, you typically sit in a reasonably quiet place and listen to tones, and ultimately they provide something called an audiogram, which tells you where your hearing is going away for most of us. And so, but I had the idea with so many pilots who really could benefit from improved clarity in communications. Why couldn't we do that in a headset? And so in a normal analog headset, they all sound exactly the same. ATC will come across and all of the Zulus have the exact same audio profile that we've designed in, because it's with capacitors and resistors and little filter networks. To have something where you could actually, Teresa's headset could sound different than your headset, Dan, than yours, required this move to a digital compensation audio system, which is what we did. And it's pretty simple. There's a test on your, there's an app we have. Okay. You open up the app, you take a 5-minute hearing test, and then you can upload the changes to the audio that compensate for your individual hearing loss profiles.
So yeah, if I've got a certain frequency that is dead or something,
Right.
That's interesting.
It's personalized to each individual person based on your hearing. Now, here's a question for you. Let's say I wear them and then I've got a friend that's like, hey, do you mind if I borrow your Lightspeeds? Sure, no problem. I'd love for you to try it out. How is that going to translate, like my customized settings, how is that going to translate for them?
Yeah, there's a place to have various preset calculations. So yours would be personalized for you. You could turn off your personalized hearing, and you
Okay.
would get the standard audio profile.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, in
So
fact,
with the touch of a button on the app,
right.
it goes right back.
And in fact, one of the reasons we put this handsome little gold button, there's
Yeah, I see
6 of
that.
them that come with every headset, is because, you and others in the plane they will have different audio profiles, right?
got a little
and so how do you
helicopter.
right? So how do you know whose headset is whose? And this is a way to identify
Need
it.
a little Wong warrior.
I do. Can
Long
you guys
warrior.
put a little warrior on there for me?
God, that's awesome. Something that I thought about when I first heard about the hearing acuity feature, I was thinking, maybe it helps a little bit. But then I saw a video where the guy was talking about how dramatic of a change it made.
Yeah, and I think your mileage may vary some on that. I mean, it really all does depend on what your current hearing profile is and the ways you can deal with some of those deficiencies just through learned behaviors and such. So, but I think everybody will hear a difference, and in some cases, and certainly in the case of Greg's testimony, it was a significant difference, and that shift really makes everything brighter, typically. Maybe too bright, but from a speech intelligibility standpoint, wonderful improvement.
Can we play his testimonial about it?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Well, let's watch that.
I'm really excited about trying the hearing acuity feature. From what I understand, the ability to push a couple buttons and run a couple sliders and make a difference in terms of what you actually hear and how you hear it, that sounds pretty cool to me. Set up a personal profile. All right, volume at 100. Hearing test, you'll hear 12 tones, first to the left ear, then the right ear. Adjust the volume until you barely hear the tone. It's kind of cool. Getting a little higher on the higher frequencies. So it takes a few minutes, but this is pretty interesting what this is doing. Right ear, 12,000 hertz, not so good. Somebody test sound with enabled or disabled personal profile to compare the results. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. Wow. That's pretty cool. Wow. My right ear. It sounds good, but then you turn it on, it's like, bam. It really is amazing how different it is. It's just flat, and then you turn it on, and it's like it opens up. It's really cool. So, having tried the hearing acuity capabilities, I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect a huge difference or to be super excited about it, but I really am. It was that much of a meaningful difference to me. I put on the headset, I trained the hearing acuity going through setting levels on audio for different frequencies. But what shocked me, and I mean it really stood out, was when I activated the hearing acuity feature. I mean, like, wow. All of a sudden, my thoughts went from, this is a really good looking headset, to this might be a game changer. From the perspective of a pilot who needs to be able to hear things the first time they're said, there's a lot of value in that.
Wow, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. How did you guys come up with the name Delta Zulu?
Well, that's another. We asked our customers, and we have kind of a close knit group of really sort of trusted flight testers and stuff like that who are really, Lightspeed fans, but also really active pilots and knowledgeable about the industry. And so we gathered a group of them together, and we have a super creative marketing team at the office too. So the marketing team had put together a list of names that were like amazing. Like we couldn't even decide between these 5 great names. And so we and then we bring this group in, and we start kind of go through them one by one, like, and then one of them just says, "What about Delta Zulu?" And we're like, "That's not on the list." But then the whole rest of the group was like, "That's perfect." The Delta, like a change, and it still has the Zulu heritage in terms of a lot of the comfort and some of the other properties, and that's certainly an ongoing part of the Lightspeed story is the Zulu franchise, but it's not just a Zulu 4, right? It's a completely new way of thinking about headsets, and so that Delta in front of that just really just seemed to really bring together the change, this heralding of a new era, along with the kind of the legacy of Zulu. So
Yeah,
put it
that's
together.
fun.
Yeah,
That's a fun
yeah.
story.
And that happened about a month before the Delta variant of COVID hit.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, that leads me to my next question. You said you had a whole bunch. What was the least received name that was out there?
Well,
what did this almost get called?
Well, one of the ones that the team liked a lot, but we didn't that hadn't completely thought through was Nova. Because of kind of new and all of that again, but then we were reminded by one of the people in our group that there was a car called Nova, and it had some translation problems.
Some issues, yeah.
Yes, right. So anyway, so that was one of the ones. I can't remember even what all the others are. We've just gotten used to calling it Delta Zulu now. So
Delta Zulu sounds much better.
yeah.
You mentioned briefly about the app. Tell me a little bit more about the app.
Yeah, the app is an iOS app, and you just download it. It's free, and it has on it then various functions. One being the hearing acuity test. If you push the bottom there, it takes you into the test cycle. You test your left and your right ear with 9 different frequencies. So. It also has the cockpit voice recorder feature that has been used and popularized with our work on the FlightLink app of old. It's a built-in cockpit voice recorder that allows you to just turn on. It records everything that's going on, so it's a perfect training tool.
Wow, so I don't have to have so many videos that I wanted to release on the Taking Off channel and got back to the studio and my audio recorder didn't work.
Right. No, it's a really straightforward, easy way, as I say, for education, training, or just for personal fun.
Does it
to
upload
record
to
everything.
the cloud?
It does.
Okay.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. That's a game changer.
Yeah,
Right.
that's, oh man, there's so many things. Wow.
And then there's a sensor page, so to speak, which tracks not only what's going on with your CO. There's a graph that keeps that. You can also store that, so that as you fly in different planes or in the same plane, Are you getting the same consistency of anything related to that? There's also there's a dial for which the cautionary and critical warning levels are set, and so it allows you to have early warnings at the very lowest levels available in the market today.
This is all digital. Is it future-proof? I mean, can you quickly add new things to this?
Well, Teresa, why don't you talk about that as a first step in?
Well, it's certainly a first step, and it is a new platform, so it has longevity that way for sure. And quickly, I don't know about quickly. These things all take time, but certainly we have a vision and a roadmap for how things could evolve on this going forward. And as customers of Lightspeed know, and this is just a little bit of a shameless plug here, but when people buy into our products, they are never really buying into obsolescence because we have the famous trade-up program, and so there's always kind of a sense that your headset is going to have some value at some future point, whenever you want to kind of get on the bandwagon for the next technology. So some people, trade to every new one as they come along. Sometimes people, wait, a generation or something like that. But that's just kind of a separate side topic. But yeah, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of a new era for sure. It really sets up a great roadmap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm blown away.
You mentioned that it was for iOS, the app. What about for Android users?
There's not going to be an Android app, at least in our roadmap today. There's a lot of things about Android that make it harder to do and to manage. I know.
Well, and those Android users just need to go find their Apple friends and have them do the, download the app and set it for them.
Well, and that is exactly what was part of our line to people. If they say, well, you only have to set the hearing acuity once, and then it's in the headset program.
Yeah, exactly.
And so just get a friend.
So like our friend tower controller Matt Wells, he can come to Christy or myself and get it done with a real phone.
For the right price or
For
food
the right
product,
price. Yeah,
I
a food
will
product, yeah.
absolutely do it for him.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to just mention again, too, that the carbon monoxide monitoring and alerting all is independent of the app, too. So even for our Android friends, the headset, that part of the headset is going to be bulletproof.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll still sense it. It'll still give you the audio warnings. Obviously, you won't have the ability to see the dial and to see the history
But the
graph.
Bluetooth would work.
Exactly.
And
The
all that
Bluetooth
kind of
will work, and it turns on and is always with you, even as an Android user.
Right. Well, very good. All right, guys. Listen, thank you so much, and thank you for bringing such a beautiful product to the market.
Oh, you're welcome. We loved coming, and you guys have just been such great friends, and we're happy to kind of be here to have you guys help us kick it off.
Yeah, and if people want to actually order this, we can provide a link below.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We here at Taking Off, we're not sponsored by Lightspeed, although I bought Lightspeed as a student pilot and haven't bought anything else. They've been great. So I love my Lightspeeds. So here's the deal. We've got an affiliate marketing link in our description below. So click on that and go order your Delta Zulus now. I mean, there's going to be a long line, so you want to take advantage of getting them now so that you can beat the rush, because this is going to be a rush.
This is an amazing product. I'll be surprised if there's not like a backlog of orders for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time on
In the Hangar.